Welcome to selfdiscoverywisdom.com, formerly known as Self-Discovery Media. On these podcasts, you're going to hear people who speak from the heart. They've taken the journey in life. Many things have happened to them, but they've changed it to happening for them. And in their strength, their courage, they've discovered their abilities and their wisdom, and they are now sharing it here with you. Do enjoy each show. We bring it to you with love and knowing that it's going to help you on your journey of life. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of An Office Kiss right here on selfdiscoverywisdom.com. I am back interviewing my wonderful brother, Sam Hawksmoor in England. We're going to be talking about his latest book, The Days After She Went Dancing. What happened after the days that she went dancing? Funny enough, he wrote this book some time ago and kind of lost where it was and then rediscovered it. And I think it's very apropos the timing and the storyline of the book. It's about a young woman who's very unhappily married. She decides that she is going to leave her husband and go and discover how to flamenco dance in Spain. But what happens after that is really where the tale starts. Unbeknownst to her, husband is bye-bye. And why is he bye-bye? What happened to this cryptocurrency? What cryptocurrency? Who's got the code? Who's got this? Who's got that? Chasing her here and there. It's a lovely adventure. Really light-hearted, fun, but very, very poignant because it actually really does address a lot to do with women who are unhappy, cryptocurrency as it is today, and if you've forgotten your password, hard luck getting it, and also crime around it, which there's plenty of that. So Sam has obviously been interviewed by me many, many times before, and this is his latest book that we're talking about. He says Nia is an editor in a small publishing house with secret dreams of becoming a flamenco dancer. She meets this psychic fortune teller who warns her that she must leave her abusive husband immediately. She sees extreme danger coming. That night, Nia discovers her husband owns a fake passport, a gun, and a bundle of euros hidden in the freezer. She suspects he's either leading a secret life or about to leave her. The cash is a chance to beat him to it and escape to study dance in Spain. That very morning, Nia flees. Her husband and her father-in-law are executed in a professional hit, and naturally the police and the media looked no further than the scheming killer housewife who had fled the scene. Enter Josh, a tracker for a news outlet, dispatched to trace the woman before anyone can get to her. But her husband killers have unfinished business with Nia and they won't be far behind. All Nia wanted to do was change her life. But as people say, be careful what you wish for. Welcome back, Sam.
Hi, welcome, Sarah, and nice to see you again.
Yes, great to see you again. And the latest book, of course, the other book we have down here, the fourth one in McGee's wonderful. I don't know when it's not a trilogy. What do they call it when it's a fourth book?
Yeah, it's difficult. Not a quarterly, but
I know. I was just trying to kind of work that out because you always hear about trilogies and nobody ever talks about the fourth book. So
a
yeah,
quad, I suppose, a quadded
yeah.
book.
Yeah, so which I highly recommend people do read. And of course, when you look at his show page, you're going to see not only all the shows that he's done with me, but all the many, many wonderful books there that he has written, which he always takes you off on a different journey. And while you're on this wonderful adventure, going sometimes into different dimensions or looking at different worlds, it always gives you a view of where you're at right now, a different perspective for how to see things. And in this book, there's so many women that would want to leave their husband through whatever abuse, whether it's neglect, physical abuse, emotional abuse, financial abuse, and finally sees that day to go looking for a new life. And this is, for many, many people that one thing that changes them. Not everybody then is going to be chased by hitmen. So where did this story come about?
Right. Well, actually, the story came about in the women I really met who were running away from their abusive husbands. And I happened to be on a sabbatical, and I went to Spain, and I went to first Seville and then to Jerez. La Frontiera, where the sherry comes from.
Mm.
And I was on the train and I met this woman, and she was going to meet her lover. And to my astonishment, at that time, her lover turned out to be a very large lady, much older than her. And she ran into her arms, and there you go.
They're in the book.
When I was staying at a hotel that was just so awful. And I met them again, arm in arm in the streets. And they said, "Oh, you must come and stay with us." And they were living in the barrio, which has been gentrified. So what this would have been where poor people lived at one time, with huge families and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Now these two ladies in love who were living in this place, and it had these courtyards where they could do all their practice for dancing, and they were both studying flamenco dances. In fact, one of them was teaching a certain aspect of it, which is the history of the fan.
Mm.
It's a very important
Oh, yes.
part of the expression of the dance. And so they formed the basis of it. And I thought, there has to be something I can write about here.
Mm-hmm.
And I really liked Jerez because you'll remember when we were young, there was jacaranda lined streets and things like that in
Mm-hmm.
Victoria and other places. And Jerez, there's all this jacaranda trees all in bloom in the winter period, which is really
Mm.
nice. And everyone was really nice to me and friendly, etc. And I started the story, and then, as you said, I lost it. And then, life happens. Started a new job, etc. Couldn't find that thing anyway. The thing I'd stored it on. And it was only in January this year that I was moving my desk from one place to the other, to the study, and there it was. And so I thought, well, but it's quite hard, I have to say, very hard to pick up a story that you've half written
Mm-hmm.
and then begin again. First of all, you update it because when I wrote it, there were no smartphones.
Right.
The world was a very different place.
No crypto, none of that. Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and politics was a little bit more stable than it is now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, in fact, there was no euro
Mm. Mm-hmm.
still, you know, the currencies of each nation in Europe. So, so I had to start again from scratch, build up this whole new story, introduce a new character, which is the guy who's sent to look for this runaway housewife, killer housewife,
Mm-hmm.
who has left two men dead on a golf course in Guildford, or Woking, really. And
But not the dog. He always has a dog in a book, folks, and the dog always survives.
dog is still left alive. Yes, you don't kill dogs.
No, no. People,
Kill
yes.
dogs.
Dogs, no.
And anyway, so she started a new life. And the guy who's pursuing her has to find her. And of course, pretty much assumes she's guilty. And when he finally does meet up with her, there's another crime. There's another guy in the street, blood cascading from his neck, and she's struck again. And so it's an interesting story about what we perceive about people.
Mm-hmm.
Women are always much more guilty of a crime than, say, men. We always assume the worst.
Right.
The press leads with that.
Yeah.
Everybody's piles on. And so it's developing those characters. I had a good basis because I had real characters, real
Mm-hmm.
people I knew. And Nia is based upon someone I do know who had ambitions to be something else, not necessarily a flamenco dancer, but certainly had secret dreams and was in a terrible relationship. And it's just interesting what happens. You develop a story, you've got relatively real characters, you put them together, and then your whole process that you're building in the story is to try and keep the characters alive.
Mm.
There are very determined people to make
Oh,
sure that
yes.
they are dead.
Yes. And, it comes across as, when people form friendships, can you count on them when there's money involved,
Yeah.
which reveals itself? Assumption, I was guilty before, proved innocent. Um, and it's how, people could be buddy buddy with someone like one moment and then after them the next or betray them the next. And it's like this assumption all the time, which is what we're seeing so much out in the world right now, instead of inquiry or understanding or compassion, getting down to what the real details are. I call it the headliner syndrome. Must be guilty, da 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 da, and nobody ever looks any deeper. And this is a kind of a case of that, where nothing rational about her husband and father-in-law being killed. She was kind of not there, but the assumption that immediately she had to do it. Because let's face it, it's easier go after this one personal victim rather than really look for the culprit.
For me, it was about developing the relationship between the women who are all suffering under the martinet who's teaching them. I
Oh
mean,
God, yes,
flamenco,
is a character.
I mean, if you ever, have ever seen flamenco, it's very much concentrated on the feet and the movement,
Yes.
etc. And it's very painful.
Uh-huh.
I dread to think, well, I've seen the feet, what they look like.
Hmm.
It's not
Yeah.
pleasant. It's the
No.
same. I remember going out with a woman called Belinda, a young woman called Belinda when I was young, and she was a ballet dancer, and she had the worst feet ever,
Hmm.
because of all the torture they put them
Yes.
through.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so that is sort of like certainly wanted to make sure, build up the camaraderie between all these women who are all there with their own backstories, and
And
that's
kind of trying
important.
to choose something that could bring out a passion inside of them, kind of reignite them. They all
Yeah,
kind of came from something that had let them down, where there was obviously no passion. And you want to kind of ignite the spark again. And flamenco dancing is all about passion, and it's all about intense passion.
intensity. It's very intense. Yeah, and so there's that aspect to it, but also you've got building up the other character, the guy who's been sent out to find her,
Mhm.
and he has to make a decision. He'll get paid to take her back to the bad guys,
Mhm.
and so I'm not giving anything away, but it's about uh,
His conflict.
his conflict as well
Yes.
with
Yes.
her, and but also I perhaps punish him quite a lot, really. Yes, he suffers quite a lot.
Yes, he does.
He's
He
in,
does. So do so many and others, just kind of accidentally, really, kind
yeah,
of,
yeah, absolutely. Well, there's a
kind of
lot of
wrong
money
place,
at
wrong time,
stake.
around the wrong people.
There's a lot of money at stake, and
Yes.
I did do the research on Bitcoin. If you do lose that
Mhm.
password, you have you effectively lost your
Yeah, but there
control.
was a guy many years ago. His money went up to $1 billion, and he didn't have his password. He had no access to it. He tried
Well,
hypnotherapy, everything, and he
there was a
couldn't
guy
remember it.
here in the UK who I think his wife emptied the bin and his USB
Oh,
memory stick went with it, and he paid, and then I think he paid like 130,000 to sift through all of the garbage in the garbage
yes.
dump.
Yeah.
Didn't
Never
find
found it.
it. No,
Yeah.
never.
Yeah. It reminds me of a guy that threw out his lottery ticket thinking he had lost, find out that he had won. And they went to the garbage thing trying to go through it, didn't find it, but he
No,
actually had the winning numbers. So, yeah, moral of the story is that, secure those things that
but
could
also
potentially
that
be money.
maybe it's not your fate
Yes.
to
Yeah.
be rich. Never
Yeah.
know. I certainly managed to evade.
Yes, I'm having a family trait.
I was only
Money
thinking
likes to
about,
pass us by.
I mean, just last week I was walking on the beach in my favorite place in the whole world, which is in Biarritz in the southwest of France. And And I was thinking, I've been coming here since the age of 16.
Mm,
So it's all my life, basically. And never once have I had enough money to have buy as much as a room in the
mm,
damn place. And if only I had, because
mm.
like a one-bedroom flat now is €1 million.
Yes,
And
you
but
should try Vancouver, my darling. You're getting up there with that there too. So
I just
yes,
wish that well, we all wish that we had done things differently.
yes, of course.
That's
Hindsight
one
2020.
that's one particular wish. I wish I had had the
Yeah.
sense of the billy goat to put some
Mm,
money aside for where I like to be.
yes.
And I just love the rolling waves. To be honest, Biarritz is a lot like Cape Town in many
Mm.
respects, except
And
money.
Cape Town is, we both lived there for many years, and it is an extraordinary, beautiful place. And, one of the things that we used to do is pack the dog in the car, drive along the coast looking for apple pie and hitting the beaches. And I just remember, was it you that took Candy, our dog, on the beach where they were filming a movie and the sand was meant to be all pristine and she's running towards her lover and there's doggy paws everywhere from Candy. And yeah, we had another border collie because we had a golf course across the road from our beach home, and she would go on there and grab the golf balls just before they had the hole in one.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
we picked character dogs for sure.
yeah.
But yes, Cape Town is very, very beautiful. I've only been to the south of France and Paris. I haven't been elsewhere I haven't been to Biarritz, but we always find a place that is kind of our muse, and France has always been your muse, hasn't it?
Yes, to a certain, well, certainly Biarritz area. I like that. It's close to the Pyrenees. The people are very friendly. It's the Basque region of France. I'm not allowed to eat Gateau Basque anymore, but anyway, that's been nice. And um, yes, it's a really nice place to be, and sort of different to the rest of France. And it's quite curious because all the media was full of blockages and 800,000 people on strike and all the rest of it. And I saw nothing, not there, not in Bordeaux, not in Paris. Every restaurant was full, every train was on time.
Mm.
Where these people were on strike, I had no idea, but it wasn't where I was anyway.
Right, yes, because I know before you were taking that trip, you're kind of dreading it. And I'm saying, well, if you get caught with that, catch a plane. Don't wait for the
But
trains. And
trains
yeah,
were absolutely on time. And, um, you
then you
know,
get back to England and your train breaks down.
yeah, yeah. But this is where, I mean, I've written a lot of my books all
Mm.
in Biarritz. So,
It
you
says
know,
it's your muse.
well, it's not that. It's more about the air quality, I think. The
Gets the brain
ozone.
cells working differently.
Well, yeah, it's the relentless waves, the huge waves. It's a big surfing capital of Europe.
Hmm.
So everybody goes there to learn to surf too. There are lots of to surfing school. In fact, someone told me it's the only industry in Biarritz, but anyway, and which isn't true because there's a lovely art school and there's also um, aircraft stuff and whatever. But um, but yes, I've often enjoyed the inspiration it brings to help write a story. Certainly the repossession of Gina McGee, those stories, I wrote those all there.
Yes,
Um, yeah, it was an important element for me. Finding the right place to write is a very important thing for
right.
a writer.
Especially kind of getting the ideas down, the download, so to speak, kind of getting where the story is going to go. Because then obviously you go home and you've got your baseline, and then from there you can do it. But it's getting that initial, isn't it? That initial
Also,
download of the characters and the storyline.
I'm very old-fashioned. I still write everything by hand. And by the way, it was hell trying to read my handwriting. And when I found my original manuscript for the holding it up this way, is it this way? I don't know.
our mother was left-handed, but when she was in boarding school, they would literally rule her hand that she had to be right-handed. And so whenever in boarding school, you get a letter from her, and it'd be a letter M and then squiggle, squiggle, squiggle with a tail for mummy. And
Yeah.
if you could try and read what she wrote. And so consequently, I don't think anybody actually has got beautiful handwriting in our family.
No, no one. Anyway, so in this particular tale, which is set, as I say, in mostly in Spain, I mean, obviously top and tail with London,
Mhm.
and keeping her alive. And also, there's a moment comes when um, she, the her rescuer Josh is sort of taking her away and saying, "We have to flee. We have to flee." But she's thinking, "You know what? I don't have to flee. I'm these people. Their life. I've ruined their lives
Mhm.
simply by being this fugitive that people want to die." And so she makes that decision. I'll go back and see if I can fix it. And I think that was for me a really important moment in writing that story. Is that quite often in movies, it's always about momentum forward,
Yes.
or momentum forward. But sometimes you need to stop and think, actually, am I doing the right thing? You know,
Yeah. She had compassion for other people that had
you
ended up
know,
in the kind of the doo-doo because of her, even unknowingly to her. There was nothing she did knowingly that caused this hurricane. She was just as much in the dark as they were, but they were being victimized because of her, and she had a conscience. And
yeah,
that's what we when people are in flight or fight, it is that conscious thing seems to go. And for her, it's like, no, I can't do this. I can't do this to to other people. And it's nice to see that conscience there because in actual fact it does save someone's life. And
yeah,
and to you see so many times in movies, oh yeah, no, the person died. Oh, I'm so sorry. And then off they go again. Like, it's like, it wasn't your fault, but at the same time, could you have done something differently?
yeah.
And she
But I
does.
feel that maybe as a writer, I mature as I get endlessly older. That I think more about the internal workings
Mm,
of character, but what they feel. And certainly that happened with my last book, Whatever Happened to Jeannie McGee.
yes,
12 years on from what happened to her when she was young. But now she's facing it as well. She doesn't even know she's an adult because she's lost her memory. But it's that when she does recover her memory, it's that she's not reacting in the same way as you would as a 17-year-old.
exactly. Exactly.
You
Yeah.
always got to think about the age of your character.
Yeah.
What, what are they like now, and etc. And
Yeah.
I think
And
I never used to be like that as a writer, but now I am.
right.
You know,
And what people don't always bring into the equation is that nobody goes through turmoil or trauma without some form of post-traumatic stress
or
at the end
Scar.
of it. Or yeah, and the whole thing is if you don't incorporate it into the story, then what you've kind of done is made the character apathetic. Um,
Much apathetic, but certainly um, not acknowledging the damage that's occurred to them. And so you do need someone to talk to, someone out there
yes.
who will say, um, you need to think about what you're doing and why you're doing it. And certainly in this one here, Nia is she's got Josh there, who is she's not quite sure whether it's friend or foe, and that's important to acknowledge.
Hmm.
And even right to the end, there's is he really there for me? And of course, he does prove that he is there for her,
Hmm.
and at his own cost.
Yeah.
And but it's I think keeping that thing. And one of the things in the book is that balance between them. It shifts
Hmm.
as you're writing it, and the power between them or lack of power, whenever. And the assumptions you make. When he first meets her, he assumes that she's probably what,
Everybody
she's
said she is. Yeah. Hmm.
and then quickly learns that really she knew
Hmm.
nothing about all of this. So she could be innocent, whereas the bad guys just want to back their drain of whatever, and they hope a password.
Yes.
And
Yes.
but there are so many bad people out there now, particularly people, Bitcoin and others, and cyber currency is enabling people
Hmm. Hmm.
like your Musks, etc.,
Yes,
be as
unfortunately.
bad as they can be, you
Yeah.
know. And gosh, we're in for a world of trouble, I think, ahead of us. And what that
Yeah.
book might be, I don't know. I don't think you can write it fast enough.
True. Yeah, and I've actually done quite a number of shows with people in cybersecurity. And, they've kind of left the big organizations to help the small organizations because they're completely being left out. Big organization can afford security. They
Mm.
hire the hackers, right? But they're smaller organizations, it's all out of reach. And they've wanted to protect the solopreneurs and the small companies because they really become victimized very, very easily. And there's so many little things that you don't really know. You need to do this and you need to do that. Otherwise, you lay victim to that. And you go, what? And we don't know. We don't know what we don't know. And when we do know, then of course we're aware we've got to do something about it. But a simple thing, if you have an external hard drive, do not leave it plugged into your computer when you switch it off. Because if they have access into your computer, they have access to all your hard drive, external and internal. So many things, it's
The digital world is a huge chasm of chaos.
yes.
I didn't know till today that a company called Tether, where people keep their stable coins and whatever, is all based in El Salvador. Well, good luck on getting any of your money out of El Salvador if things go
Hmm.
tits up, So
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah.
You already know, I mean, El Salvador, I mean, really? Yeah, exactly.
But we're about to go in this country to digital IDs, digital driving licenses, and digital tax returns, no paper involved.
Mm,
This will, of course, um, if you like, disadvantage older people who are not particularly tech savvy. But
yeah.
I'm just thinking they're probably going to put all of this on something like Windows 7 or whatever, and some 20-year-old piece of software, and decide that the Russian hackers will destroy it and they'll have own everything that we've got. It really worries me that what we're doing to ourselves.
Yes, and
If it,
unfortunately, we're
you
setting
trust
ourselves up
it,
for it.
but what can you trust? And that
Exactly.
again goes back to the days after she went dancing. Who can she trust?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Uh,
From one moment, oh, she's worried about her sore feet, and the next moment her
yeah.
world is completely in a tornado,
And
right?
then everyone is absolutely convinced that she's got the password to the Bitcoin
Mm,
collection. And it's a big Bitcoin collection
right. And she didn't
for a
really even
lot of
know
money.
about it at all because her husband
Oh,
was not somebody to tell her much about things.
no. But I mean, what's interesting is that, of course, you're writing this thing and you think, oh God, what happens if Bitcoin crashes and it's not
Yeah.
worth anything when the book comes out, but hey, that's the risk you take.
Oh no, well, I know there's many many people making trillions of Bitcoin, but it's rather like playing stock market. You've got to be on it all the time because they go up and down like a yo-yo. Where with your Bitcoins, you've got to be paying attention to it all the time because sell it, pull it out, it's about to crash. I mean, it's just a whole headache altogether. There was a brilliant TV series out of England called The Undeclared War,
Oh yeah, it was good. Yeah, yeah.
and really, really good. And I don't know if we can have access from it from North America. It did play here for a while and then suddenly disappeared, and I didn't get to finish it. But basically, it is Russia, playing with the social media, literally having cameras in the areas where they shouldn't be in, and this one girl breaking the code
Yeah.
and saying, we're being watched, and they were all they were doing was shit stirring in and
Which
throwing
they
in
did all
panic.
the time now, all
Yes,
of them.
yeah, and so it's brilliantly acted, etc., and really a good wake up call because
Well, Russian hackers have destroyed, I don't know if you're aware of it, but your Range Rovers and Jaguar, they're all made here. in the UK, and they've hacked it, and so they haven't been able to make any now for months, and they don't think they'll be able to start again until
How
maybe
have they hacked? What have they done?
taken down their software, so they can't build anything. Literally,
Literally crippling here and
they
crippling
can't
there.
even sell a part because they've captured all of their data. Yeah.
And the moral of your story is back up your data, back up your data. Constantly to
Doesn't matter if
secure
you
it.
back up the data, you still can't make a car if you
Right,
can't trust the data, you know.
right, true. Yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah, it's really worrying because this is becoming so much part of our lives.
And it's not going anyway. It doesn't matter how much we protest, and and it isn't kind of old fogies just bitching about it because young people find it very, easy. No, it's something that's going to shake up your life, and how can you trust something?
Yeah.
That's the big question. How can you trust someone? How can you trust something? And we're already seeing this with fake news. And we're already seeing this on social medias, like the latest president of America has absolutely perfected this uh, fake news thing and what goes out there, the twists and turns, and is it real or isn't it real? And what people are buying as real is just like, don't you question anything? Do you see if there's any logic in that at all? I call it the headlines syndrome. Da 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 da. Oh, it must be. Therefore, it is. And
Mm.
nobody looking, beneath the covers to find out what really is going on, or
The
thinking for themselves, which
one
seems to
nice
be going
thing
out of
about
fashion.
whilst I was in France, there are several things I noticed. One, lots of bookshops.
Excellent.
They've all virtually disappeared here in the UK.
Hmm.
This town doesn't have one, and but there they do, and people are reading books still, which is great. Um,
Especially when you're writing them.
well, especially when you're writing them, and that I probably should put out a French edition. That would be. I just
Yeah,
need
you should
someone
definitely.
someone I trust to do it. It's quite difficult because the last one I had out in France, which was called Volontaires, they changed the name of all the characters, which didn't help when it. Um, and also, I had no idea, what was really in it. And I remember my very first book that was in translation was in Denmark, and somebody who was Danish said to me, what was in the story, and I said I didn't write that, and it said it was just a completely different story as far as I could
Right.
see. I
Yeah.
mean, I remember getting paid for that, and it was just enough to pay for 2 weeks holiday in Corfu, and I think,
I'm a writer and I've been paid, yes.
yeah.
And of course, now you have so many translation programs. Even,
There are,
Amazon and
but
things
I
has that.
still don't know how trustworthy they are, but
Yeah, but it's and then you get somebody who does speak the language to read it, who's read both. Finding a trusted friend who speaks both, and
it's quite
uh,
difficult to get people to do things for you.
yes, yeah, definitely. Um,
Um,
but
getting
I mean, there's always a way.
news.
But
If anyone's interested in read this and like to buy my new book, The Days After She Went Dancing, what I'd really like you to do is buy it and write a review of it, because the one thing that we live or die by now
yes,
as writers is the algorithm of reviews,
yes,
and
yes,
it's so hard to get people to commit to doing that, even if it's just like one line. Like
yeah.
this is the worst book I have ever read. At least that would be a review,
Yes.
would count.
Um, and the thing about this is that it's full of adventure and intrigue, and it has a wonderful flow to it. It has enough excitement and enough action, but at the same time, those wonderful intricate moments that are heartwarming and really kind of connecting, where you can feel the characters and you can invest in the characters, because there is the time to do that, where we see in a lot of North American things it's all about the chase, the gun chase, the car chase, the this chase. There's the chase there, but there's enough time to get to know the people so that you actually understand why she chose to go back, right? Because there is a character development there where you get to meet these other people and a little bit of their story where you feel connected before it's off on the chase again. So it's got the action, but it's got the intimacy. It's also got the story, as I said at the beginning, of so many women. Believe me, I get to interview many, 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 many of them who have, divorced, who have left their husbands and gone and done something they love to do because they felt passionless in their relationship. And so this is quite common for women to step out of it and go look for something that's meaningful. It doesn't always mean flamenco dancing, or it doesn't always mean that the first thing they do is going to be what they do forever. But it's that sense of feeling alive again, of doing something that's going to
escaping,
remove you from where you are.
escaping the whole
Yeah,
trap that there is.
reinventing, so yes, and it's, and it can for many, many women, okay, yes, she's on an adventure and all of that and being chased by people, but at the same time it's like good for you for not staying there, right? Good for you for
It's very hard to leave.
it
Very
is,
hard to leave a bad
how many years did it take me? Yes.
It's very hard to leave a bad relationship, and you quite often I'm bewildered why someone has stayed, but it's that fear, isn't it, of being alone, poor, homeless, etc. And
And especially if you have
courage.
children.
It does take courage.
Yeah, if you have children, it's a totally different scenario. You actually think, well, I'm staying for the children are all right. And in my case, it was the children saying, no, it's time for the divorce. It was
Mm.
them that gave me permission. As I thought, I'm the only one suffering here. They're okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Until they pointed out.
No, no, children suffer when they're in a bad relationship.
Yes, yes, but you all think that you're hiding it and but yes. And always in the hindsight, everybody always says, why didn't I do it sooner? But when you're in the midst of it, you're in that turmoil and it's really, really hard to do. So yes, it takes a lot to walk away, whether you have children or don't have children. It's also an end of a lifestyle you thought you had, right? You're no longer a partner. There is no future where you think, when we retire, this is what we will do together, all of that. You're saying goodbye to something that you were invested in that you thought was going to be forever. So it is a big deal. And having the courage to go and do something. I mean, she realizes, God, my feet are killing me. I can't keep this up. But at the same time, it made her feel alive for the time period that she did it, right?
It's the spur, of course, was in the beginning when she speaks with the fortune teller. It says, you've
Mm.
got to get out, you've got to go.
Yes.
Cards are really bad. You can be, we all need that in a way, that spur, that
Yes.
permission, the
Yes.
permission to go.
Yes.
And
Yes.
finding a gun and money and whatever. And she thinks, well, who is this person I'm married to?
Uh-huh.
What is going on here? Why is this in the freezer to start with?
Right. And especially if there's a gun there. You
Yeah,
don't necessarily want to question him. Why have you got a gun in the fridge? Because you don't want it pointed at you. So
yeah,
for her,
right.
it's that's it. Last straw, I'm gone.
And
Right.
originally, the story was called The Cherry Tree because it all begins with a cherry tree.
Hmm.
The battle over the stupid cherry tree that she's got, in
Yes.
the window box, as it were, and how he hates this tree because it's a bit of personality, it's a bit of her,
Yes.
and he hasn't allowed her
No.
into home. She's not
Hmm.
allowed to choose anything in it. Not even, it
Yeah.
took her years to even get a key. So, and that happens to a lot of
Oh
people.
God, a lot of things. This isn't about a partnership. This is about control,
Yeah, always
right?
about control.
And she took that control back, even if it was just, being egged on. Um, I think the synchronicity of the woman saying, get out now, and then finding the money and the gun. And then it was like, it has to be now. And,
Yeah,
the thing is, you always know when that time is. Don't try and talk yourself out of it. Sorry, when I raise my hand, it goes and does that. It's a ridiculous
yeah.
thing. Um, uh, and it's pay attention to those signs. When it feels right, it's right. Don't go and stay up in your head. Yes, but, get out right there and then. If it's ever meant to be that you get back together, there'll be a course of action that will get you there. But it's get out and do it from afar, or secure yourself, because it's very hard if you
When a
say I'll
relationship
stay.
is broken, you can never really go back. It's never
No,
going to.
no.
And again, that happens, and you think, why? Why did you go back?
And that is for people who don't realize they're in a perpetual pattern, a perpetual programming, and they haven't changed the programming. Oh, it'll be different this time. It's never different.
Never
It's
different.
never different.
Never different. Yeah.
It's honeymoon for the first few days and then back to horror. So, yeah.
Um,
And, we've got to honor ourselves, and that's what it's about. And she honors herself. And, in the end, she becomes quite triumphant on different scales of the coin. But it's she's shown compassion, she's shown resilience, she's shown tenacity, and she's shown common sense.
yeah. Well, of course, the book begins with sore feet and ends with sore feet.
Yes, yes. Yes. And of course, you always have a dog. Even when you were out in space, you had something that represented a kind of a dog creature. But there's always a dog in your books, because yes, we both love dogs. But they also, I know they've brought into you a great deal of challenge in writing dogs, especially of times of trouble. How do you keep the dog alive? But also they bring in a totally different dynamic where it's that relationship between the person and the dog. That dog is the confidant. That dog is the supporter. That dog is the love. The balance, or the warning. And it's having a
Felt
dog
a
in the
minor
story.
role in this particular book, but um, yes, it's interesting. I mean, in fact, I've come back from France thinking I really have to get a dog. My
Yes,
own, you know,
yes. It's
I've,
about
I've
time.
I've had a lot of virtual dogs in all my books. A
Exactly. It's time for a
real
real
one.
one. Yeah. Exactly. And it's been, oh God, like almost 10 years, 9 years now since mine left. And she looks at me all the time because somebody did an oil painting for me. And it's like, I need to get a dog, but I love border collies and I can't take a border collie at my age. And we're going to share it with the family and the kids. And border collies like to herd, and they're not good around babies because they herd them, nip them into the corner. So I need a smaller dog. But yes, a dog in your life is, I think, something that you're never alone. You're never alone, and the love and the attention and they give you is just the friendship they give you is just unbelievable.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's perhaps my next move, and then
I mean,
I'll let the dog write the next book.
yeah, exactly. It will pay attention. It'll sniff a story out for you. So back to our wonderful Jeannie McGee. It's the fourth book. The one which is quintessentially years later in a reflection back on all that she
Because the
went through.
part of the four in the book, they're all set in Canada and
Right.
particularly in
And
BC.
and everything that she went through, everything they went through, but also very often, like where you did leave off in the third book, is triumphant, but at what cost? And in this book, it's even though when she initially come into it, she's lost her memory and she's got to discover her memory of
And
who
I
she is.
re-traumatize her all over again, trying to
Exactly,
remember it all.
exactly. But what it also does is, which we don't see often enough in stories, is the years later. Where are they now? Who are they now?
Yeah,
Who's still around them? And what was really nice about that is you took the characters and you gave them a story beyond the original story, right?
yeah.
And a conclusion, um, but at the same time, seeing everything that they've gone through and what they have to live with, what will always be something that will chase them,
Uh,
and their
that
triumph.
context yeah. We don't quite often. I mean, you just only have to think about the James Bond movies. You
Yeah,
really like, all those bullet holes in him for a start, broken
exactly.
bones,
Where's his arthritis?
where's his arthritis? Oh, and he'd be worried about his bladder and being able
Yes.
to, never mind, his cocktails will be pills.
Exactly. I want to see that movie,
Yeah, yeah,
especially at our age. It kind of is more realistic, right? And, you see all of these movies where people are beaten up and this and that, and which movie is it's a TV show where the guy gets knocked down. Oh, it's Mannix. It's an old one from the 70s, 60s, and 70s, and he's a private eye. And
yeah, yeah,
the amount of times he gets hit over the head. Well, this guy should be
yeah.
totally brain dead by now, but it's always like, oh,
Certainly with
oh, and
dementia.
then
Yeah,
yeah, exactly. And it's like he's always, the hero of getting beaten up again, and it's like so unrealistic. Yeah. Um,
yeah.
and yeah, actually, I think I don't know, have you seen Reds? The TV movie Reds with Helen Mirren and
No.
oh,
Oh, yes, I have. Yes, I
right.
did.
And then they did a
Bruce
Reds
Willis
too.
and all
And
those.
so, that was like all these spies that
Yeah,
tried to take,
the old ones. Yeah,
they're
yeah.
all the old ones and they kind of still got it. But, it's like kind of, I think, doing a superhero thing of I'm still alive, but,
Yeah.
the aches
I,
and pains
I've
I
often
have
thought
with.
of a superhero care home.
And they need the security because people are still after them. Yes, I
Yeah,
think that
yeah,
would be
yeah.
hilarious. I think it would be really, really good. And a lot of
Yeah,
great characters that could be in that.
yeah.
Um, uh,
Bit of a copyright issue there, I think. But anyway,
maybe, but you don't actually have to, do 007. It could be, um,
well, there's just so many bloody superheroes out there.
yes, there are. And so one can allude to them without doing that.
Yeah,
But I think it would make an absolute hoot that even taking the dog for a walk requires actually getting out of the chair without pain. So,
yeah.
and that's I think getting older, we become our own superheroes, right? We have the aches and pains and everything else that we get as we get older. And
I don't think as I get up in the morning that feeling like a superhero exactly is the
no,
right.
but we got through a day. Isn't that hero enough? And
Anyway.
and it always
So
gets you writing
I
again.
I'm not quite sure what I'm going to write next, but I'm waiting for the right story to come along. I don't have to rush at these things. I had two books out this year, so and and it would be nice to try and get some reviews for these. Not particularly for ego, but just simply for this damn
Feedback.
album.
Yes,
It's
exactly.
so hard to
I
be
know.
noticed
And
anymore.
this is something I even say with people when they listen to podcasts and things. Please leave a comment. Wherever you've heard this, so, please leave a comment. Tell us what you think. What has it inspired in you?
Yeah.
It's that feedback is just showing us, are we on the right track? And so a lot of people don't. It seems to be if they're not bitching about something, they don't write anything. So, it's it,
Well, I have to say that I thought about it. I was staying, I have to say, in the worst hotel in Paris last week that probably exists. It's the sort of place where you'd find a dead hooker on the stairs, and the room, the tap fell off the base and there was no hook for the shower, threadbare carpets, and this constant smell of sewage and no window,
oh God, no.
no
Yeah,
window.
no.
And this was described as a deluxe hotel room on
Oh,
hotel
rats.
on hotels.com. Why on earth they got this hotel in their list? I know it's a good location near the Sacre-Cœur, but it was dire, no breakfast room, nothing. You had nothing. And I'm just thinking, well, maybe there's a story there,
Oh yeah.
maybe, but it was just so unpleasant to experience. And I think, well, I'm stuck with this. It's 100 quid a night. And then my nephew, when I got back, says, "Oh, I wouldn't pay less than 500 a night in Paris." Right.
Yeah, how times have changed. And I was saying to you that, I did all my traveling BC before children, right? And I'm very, very grateful I did it back then. And you have done a great deal of traveling. And when you got back from this one, you think, maybe stay home for a while because traveling has just got to be not only expensive, but as you said, a little unpleasant in some ways. The cost of everything where you go, I just also the safety. You've got a niece, I've got a daughter that loves to travel, and it's always that, safety concern out there in the world.
That said, in Bordeaux, which is an incredibly busy town, really buzzing on a Saturday night. Everybody out, every restaurant full of young people, but all behaving, I might add. And there was
Mm,
jazz in the streets, etc. And I dined by accident with a professor from New Zealand, and she's there. Her husband was following on a day later, got delayed. And she was there as a consultant for a pharmaceutical company. But it was such a pleasant, we had such a pleasant talk and whatever. And she was describing to me what she liked about Bordeaux. And then
hmm
after dinner, we went for a roll. This is where I jog. This is where I do this. And this is whatever. And it was made such a difference.
hmm
Instead of being the solo traveler, now
Yes.
I was talking to someone and they were pointing out the things that they really
Yeah.
admired
A
about.
shared experience.
And that was such a pleasure. And thinking that's one of the drawbacks of solo travel these days,
Hmm
particularly as an older person, that you don't necessarily get to speak to people,
Right.
you know.
Yeah. Yes. I don't go anywhere anymore. So I actually have explored Vancouver Island where I live now, and actually got to see a few towns and Tofino. Finally, after 45
Right,
years
yeah,
of living
yeah.
here, I finally got to Tofino, but doing it with the kids and grandkids, right? So it's you're seeing it from a totally different
Well, in
perspective.
Tofino, Kit and I were there with your dog and Tabitha when she was young. And I remember there was two dogs on the beach, both either end of a log, and they were running around and tripping people up. As they just,
That's what Kokomo used to do. She used to love getting a branch,
yeah,
and
yeah,
she'd
yeah.
teeth in the middle, and she'd go running up, and people having to jump over the branch.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah,
she's
yeah.
going, or she'd just take them out because yeah, she the bigger the stick, the more happier she was be. But yeah, I mean, I finally got there and finally got to Courtney and um, Canberra and a few other places. And it's I really do live on a very beautiful island. It's got so much wonderful things here. So it's nice to finally just be able to explore that
Yeah.
and see more of that.
Well, maybe
Because
my next adventures will be with my dog, and we'll go to different cities
yes,
in England, you know.
yes, exactly.
Yeah,
Dog friendly places. So, and that's another thing with dogs. Now you've got places that aren't dog friendly. And
yeah,
then other places have. I remember when I was with you one time, they had that wonderful dog cafe where people could go in and order off the menu for the dogs, and the
yeah,
dogs could be in with the cafe. And you say it's not there anymore.
yeah. Now there's a dog hotel. Was it in New York? I can't remember where it is now. But certainly one in Paris. And where they just the dogs are there. There's no one else, you know. They're just dogs.
Being
And,
pampered, getting massaged.
yeah.
Like
It
probably
costs
a better
thousands.
hotel than where you stayed.
I
Yeah.
don't think a dog would have stayed in my hotel. They would have spurned
No, it was
it,
deluxe hotel for the rats.
pissed on the stairs and buggered off, you
Yeah,
know.
exactly.
Anyway,
Well,
never
I
mind.
love the way that you always take your travels and incorporate them, into a storyline. I've read every one of your books, obviously, through the years, and you went into the youth genre for a long time, which I love because it's in reading those, it kind of gave you license to go into other worlds and to go into other dimensional point of views, and I always found them a place where I could reflect back into reality and see it from a different aspect, to see it from a different angle. So, like um, the repercussions of Thomas.
Mm,
Um, a young kid that's on the phone with his girlfriend, he's a teen, suddenly goes through a black hole and finds himself in the war, talking to the wrong person, and how it completely and utterly changes history. And
right.
it's like that, it becomes that what if. And I want more kids to read that because I want them to think, well, what if there isn't computers of freedom or a phone or texting or social media or
Mm.
restrictive of where you can go and whom you can see and all of that what if. And in actual fact, we're getting a little taste of it right now in America on a different scale,
Big
right?
taste of it,
Yeah.
I think. And AI is going. to the right, and it's very worrying, I think. But
You
so
see,
the
AI
story,
isn't the fault, it's always in the hands of the people. And this is the thing, is that anything could be a weapon, um, if it's in the wrong hands. And it
but
is
it's
kind
more
of,
than that. Just never mind the AI story. It's all of the energy it's using, all of the water it's using,
yeah.
doing it from people, from crops. So it's crazy. It's so energy intensive that, and it's causing weather disturbance, whether you like it or not.
Mm.
And Trump will deny it, of course.
Oh, God, come on. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, it's time for that guy to go and his whole regime.
but
Um,
no, but there are worse people behind it.
I know, yeah, but the whole House of Cards, I think they backed him because he had a pull on people. Which there is a young guy called Dean Withers here who's an influencer, and he talks to mega people, Trump supporters, and he's highly intelligent and can really reveal the facts. And it's always astonishing of how they don't want to know the facts,
No,
refuse to believe the facts, and just astonishing the things that they will believe in. And it's like, in this day and age with so much information around you, you choose to believe that. And
yes.
it's
People would rather believe alien lizard people run the world
yeah,
than
yes.
the fact
Well,
that, well, they're in
they're a
the right.
different form of lizards.
Yeah.
But, yeah. But yes, and that's goes back to accountability. And like, in this story, she takes on accountability for her own life, right? I can't stay here. I'm miserable. I've been warned that danger is coming. There's a gun in the freezer. I've got to be accountable for my own happiness, and then just leaves. And then I think it's obviously what transpires, the chase and everything else when she comes back, whom really did kill them, and all that transpires when she gets back, is it always comes back to our own accountability of what are we going to do with it? Whatever hand we've been dealt with, what are we going to do with it? And she had a moral compass, and she had compassion for other people. And I think that it kind of leaves you with, what's next for her? It's quite intriguing. I'd love to know where she went with this.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yes, it's to leave people thinking about that character.
Hmm.
That that's the way to leave a book, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, and also I think for a lot of people, well, what would I do if I was in that situation? And I always like people to reflect back, become one of the characters. That's when I read a book, I like to become one of the characters. Um, and like, what would you do in this situation?
Mm.
That's something I think that's really, really important, because reflection, yes, it's been inspiring. Yes, it's been exciting. Yes, I read it in an afternoon. I had my legs up on my couch, the sun was streaming through the window, and I read it first as an ebook. And just because that's where I like to read. Leave me alone. I'm reading, and I like to read from start to finish. And then I like to chew it over. I like it like a good meal. You like to really settle, and then
Mm.
let the taste of the characters, to kind of linger on afterwards. This is the reason why it's called the author's kiss, because it's like an author's embrace. When they give you a story that lingers on afterwards, that has you questioning things, a conversation about something, reflecting, seeing something different from a different point of view, then you know that that book has really embraced you. And I think that's the beauty of a
But,
book.
I just write the books, but you're the one playing the movie in your head.
Exactly, exactly. You've set the
You know what
stage.
they
You've
look
given us
like.
the
You know
characters. Exactly.
what
Yeah,
the sound is. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
And
wow.
it's always going to be, this is why, people have book clubs where they each kind of share what they got out of it. And this is why I see people have podcast parties, listen to a podcast and then share what you each got out of it, because I guarantee each one of you got something different. And now
Yeah.
you actually have a buffet of knowledge and perspective, as
Yeah.
opposed to just being your own. It's saying, like, when you're traveling, you're going to see it from your point of view. When you share the experience with someone else, oh, I hadn't seen that. I didn't notice that. And
Mm.
that's, really where kind of you building up the orchestra. So, having a book club, make this part of your book club, folks. It's fun,
Yeah.
it's exciting. But what else is conversations that come from this? Because there's a lot of
So,
conversations that can come from this book.
and set in Spain, so it's a
Yes.
different, and I
Yeah.
was there in Cadiz, in Herat, in Seville. So,
Yeah. You never write about anything other than space, perhaps, because you haven't been there, that you haven't been to, that you haven't had a flavor of or kind of seen it. Um,
well, yeah, I mean, it's a bit stupid to write a book about somewhere you haven't been, because
right, right. I can imagine if you wolfish just look on a map and go, oh, I'll write about that and just look
well,
it up at
yeah,
Google. So,
actually, yeah, there are a few. The guy who wrote Funeral in Berlin with Michael Caine movie,
right.
he'd never been to Berlin, but he used a guidebook. Well, he didn't have enough money to go there.
Exactly. So he used his imagination and then allowed, and that's the thing about a good writer or a good script writer or a good movie. How does it inspire your imagination? Right?
Yeah,
We don't want to just be told everything and that, well, there's nothing else to say. We want to have something that was intriguing, that's inspired your imagination and lets that story linger on or even become another story in itself.
yeah. Okay, all right. Well, thank you very much, Sarah, for
My pleasure. Don't forget, folks, the wonderful repercussions, the whole quad of Jeannie McGee. A great book to give your teenagers and then read together. Just what you're going to get out of this, even though it was written for you, is so much as an adult. There's
yeah.
so much that I still reflect on in all of those books of things that were happening and things that were being done. And there's such a reflection on society today.
Also,
Um,
waking up and realizing that your whole life is suddenly become a comic strip.
yes,
How the
yes,
hell did that happen? What,
yes.
you know?
Especially that you knew you were guarding your life. How did
And
that
who would
happen?
believe you if you told someone I am now in a graphic novel? I mean, who the hell would believe? No
Exactly.
one.
Exactly. And then, of course, we've got Nina and her adventure, her seek for a new life. Boy, it was a lot more than she thought it would be. Um, but, talk about shaking up and waking up your life. Well, this really shook her up and really woke her up. But it's a great book to give. Remember, I always say books are a wonderful thing to give for Christmas,
Yeah.
birthdays at any time. It could be found on Amazon. Just put in Sam Hawksmoor, HawksMoor. And also then go to your site, samhawksmoor.com. And if they go to the Orchard of Wisdom, excuse me, cough, cough, orchardofwisdom.org, O-R-G, and put in Sam Hawksmoor, you will see all of his books and all of his shows that he has done here with us. And there's many, many shows on many, many books that we've done. You can also just put his name in
But this is
selfdiscoverywisdom.com.
the first one with a hat.
The first one with the hat. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, the hat christening. The hat christening.
My
But yeah,
Bieber hat,
yeah.
actually.
But yes, there's all of these movies here that were written around the books. There's also many articles that he's written, and it's all revealed here. And there's also his site that unfortunately is going soon, the other site, which I really invite you to go and look at too as well, Hack Writers Magazine. Um, because he's got so many 26 years of articles in there, which is incredible. But it's samhawksmoor.com.
Yeah. Thank you, Sarah, and have a great weekend.
Yes, you too, my dear, you too. Evening over there, still midday here. But folks, Christmas is coming up. This is a good time to go and get the book.
Less than
Uh,
100 days to go.
no, oh my gosh, I've actually already started my shopping. I've still got all the birthdays to get through in October. So
Uh,
both of us have birthdays. We're both October babies.
okay.
So
All right.
as
Well,
we
listen, take
age
care.
another year and let the maturity of the book sit with you, a glass of wine, a good read, but buy it for your friends, buy it for
Absolutely.
a whole bunch of friends and say, let's have a book club over it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you
And
very much.
I'll say goodbye.
Yes, samhawksmo.com, folks. And until next time, bye for now. We hope that you enjoyed the show. There are so many more for you here on selfdiscoverywisdom.com. Just go to the podcast tab at the top there and you will see all the many genres and all 3,000 shows ready for your listening. We are here to serve you, to help you on your journey of life, and we know that through inspiration, it begets invitation. We are supported by you, the listeners, and those that we interview. Anything that you can spare us in donation would be greatly accepted, and we do hope that you enjoy the next show.